One. Two, what we've accomplished so far, and three, what comes next. To close the rally, I'm going to ask Pastor Aaron Bauman of St. Peter's Lutheran Church to say a few words in parting. This all started with the simple notion, if you see something, say something. If you don't use this station and ride this train, you probably wouldn't know it's not accessible. That the ADA rules that we take for granted don't seem to apply here. As a commuter, it took me a while, but eventually I noticed you couldn't walk from the sidewalk to the station without crossing the grassy area over there. There's a connecting sidewalk over there now. That wasn't there. Often the grass here was muddy. When it rained, there were puddles of water, and in the winter, ice. Too often, riders had to climb over snowbanks to get to the station. At times, it was hard for me, but impossible for someone in a wheelchair or needing assistance to walk. So I went to the Port Jervis City Council and asked for that piece of sidewalk. I had to be persistent. I had to ask a few times. And it took a couple of years, but eventually the city and Metro North agreed to that sidewalk, and the station became accessible. I thought that the ability to get on the train would follow in a reasonable amount of time, but as we know, that hasn't happened. Efforts by the mayor and the city council to move and update the station have not met with success yet. Years continue to pass, and it's clear we need a new approach. I've spoken to a lot of people about this, but it was during a conversation with Patty Bauman at church that we came up with the idea for this rally. We agreed we needed to inform the community to let you know that Metro North was treating us different than other communities down the line. While the railroad updated other stations to enable seniors, people with disabilities, and families with small children to get on the train, we wouldn't be afforded with that dignity and respect. A few days before we announced this rally, I spoke with Stan Siegel, a lifelong resident of Port Jervis, and the city council. Stanley told me that about a year ago he wrote letters to the MTA asking for help with accessibility. Stanley shared with me the response of then President of Metro North, Joseph Giglietti. Here is some of what he wrote. I'm going to use a little assistance for myself. Dear Mr. Siegel, and this is an excerpt, I'm not reading the whole thing. Thank you for your letter dated December 9th, 2016. As background, the Port Jervis station was constructed in the mid-1980s, prior to the enactment of the American with Disabilities Act. In 1992, Metro North developed a key station plan through the public process identified under 49 CFR parts 27, 37, 38. This plan identified stations that would be retrofitted in order to provide ADA accessibility to Metro North train service. The closest station to Port Jervis identified as a key station was Middletown, which was reconstructed as a new ADA accessible station in the late 1990s. In addition, Campbell Hall, Salisbury Mills, and Harriman stations have all been altered in recent years. The capital projects improvements at Port Jervis that you reference in your letter were completed in 2010. The improvements included a new ADA accessible shelter on the station platform, new lighting, upgrades to electrical and PA systems, a new ADA accessible curb ramp with railings over there, and an accessible path of travel to the platform, and new benches. What Mr. Giglietti didn't seem to mention is, while a disabled person can get on the platform, while a disabled person is encouraged to park over there close to the platform, that only gets you to wave to everybody else that leaves on the train. Right? We're not missing anything here, right? Okay. You can also see that it's Metro North's plan that this not be accessible. because he mentions what stations were to be accessible, and it's not here. That's where Metro North stands today. So where do we stand? We're getting the word out. We're drawing support from the community that we never had before, and more of us are standing together. Our story and Metro North's unfair treatment of our community has been written about in the Pike County Dispatch, the Times Herald Record, the Gazette, on WDLC Radio, and in other media outlets. The community has shared information about this station like never before through social media and distributing flyers. I want to thank Patty Bauman for organizing this rally with me, Stanley Siegel for the work he has done to bring attention to this issue and affect change. I want to thank Sharon Siegel and my wife Nolene Casey Tomasi for all they have done to spread the word and help us here today. And I want to thank the Interfaith Council and all you for getting the word out and coming here today and making your voices heard. To add to our own voices, I have asked for letters of support from our elected officials at the state, county, and city, as well as the town of Deer Park. I have a few excerpts I want to read to you. To Catherine Rinaldi, Acting President, MTA Metro North Railroad. I'm writing today about an issue of great local concern, access to trains for people with disabilities in your Port Jervis station. I recognize that under the American with Disabilities Act, Metro North is not required to make this particular station accessible for individuals with disabilities because of alternative accommodations. However, I believe that it is necessary to work together to ensure that veterans, the elderly, and people with disabilities who live in the area are not negatively impacted by the current level of access. I am confident that there are simple steps that can be taken to lessen the burden on these individuals and ensure they have the same ease of access to basic transportation services as everyone else. At minimum, temporary accommodations should be made while a more permanent solution is identified. This would have great impact in the lives of many of my constituents in Western Orange County. It's a common sense move that would be greatly appreciated. Sincerely, Sean Patrick Maloney, Member of Congress. This letter dated November 17th. To Michael J. Garner, Chief Diversity Officer, MTA Office of Diversity and Civil Rights. Please be advised that it has come to the attention of the ADA Committee of the City of Port Jervis that the passenger platform in our city is not handicap accessible for the purpose of riding the train. It is our understanding that you have what you consider to be reasonable accommodation by requiring a handicapped individual to pre-schedule for bus transportation to another station in order to board the rail line. It is our opinion that it is not reasonable to provide on-demand service, as that is what is given to others. We ask that you give attention to this matter and provide an appropriate means of assessing the train at Port Jervis Station for handicapped individuals. Respectfully, Robin Watzenegger, ADA Committee Member. This is from the Port Jervis ADA Committee, Port Jervis City ADA. Dear Mr. Tomasi and rally organizers, I am pleased to support the rally being held this Sunday, December 3rd, to urge Metro North to upgrade the station in Port Jervis to better accommodate seniors, small children, and individuals with disabilities. Metro North and the Metropolitan Transportation Authority should provide the same accommodations to Port Jervis as it provides to Middletown, Harriman, Tuxedo, and other communities. Port Jervis residents should not be forced to get on and off the train at other locations due to the inadequacies of the Port Jervis station. Not only is it a matter of port pride, but it is also a matter of fairness. John Bonasek, our state senator. And the last letter I'll read today is from Paul Brabenik. To Michael J. Garner, Chief of Diversity Officer, I call to your attention the lack of accessibility for commuters with disabilities at the Port Jervis Metro North Station. Access is restricted due to the need to climb the steep, narrow steps of the train. The closest fully accessible station is located in Middletown, which is approximately 25 miles away. A half-hour drive from Port Jervis. We understand that the accommodations are available for van pickup service from Port Jervis Station to the Middletown Station. This is very benevolent on your part. However, a 2 to 3 day advance request must be made for such service. Such prior notice restricts the freedom of the disabled. If there's a last-minute need to see a medical specialist, the 2 to 3 day prior notice doesn't suffice. Our disabled veterans' access to VA hospitals is hampered, as well as the parent who wishes to get a baby stroller onto the train, or a senior citizen who requires the use of a cane or is unable to climb the steps. We ask for a compromise in providing more accessibility and freedom for commuters with disability. Sincerely, Carl A. Grabenek, member of the New York State Assembly. In addition to these letters, the Deer Park Council, at their last meeting, voted to write a letter of support, which I'm waiting to receive. I will be requesting letters of support from Matamoras, Milford, and Highline, and I expect to get them as well. This station, and just not done, but just so you know, this station serves a population not only of 9,000 people approximately in Port Jervis, but there's 27,000 people in Deer Park, plus the populations of Matamoras, Milford. I've ridden the train as a commuter with folks as far up as Lake Wallapack, okay? There's, Forestburg, okay? A lot of people need this station to get on and off. So what comes next? This is not the end, it's the beginning. We have to keep spreading the word and let our neighbors know what's going on. We encourage everybody to write letters to the acting president of Metro North, and we'll have her name and address for you. Send letters to the editor of our local paper. Contact our elected officials and let them know you want access for everyone at the station. If they haven't sent a letter of support yet, encourage them to do so. If you belong to a group or an association, ask them to add a letter of support. The more we stand up for each other, the faster we'll get this resolved. And until there is access for every one of us, until we all matter to Metro North and the MTA, we will continue to rally. Patty and I are calling for another rally 1 month from now. We have flyers here. It may be a rally snowball fight. Maybe we'll build snowmen that can't get on the train. But we'll be here. And they will know we are here. Right here. And we're not leaving anybody behind. Thank you all for coming. There are folks here that you may want to speak to or interview. Mr. Grabenek, thank you for coming. Mr. Mayor, Kelly Decker, other members of the City Council, thank you. This is really wonderful that you're all here, and we'll see you again. As I said before, we can have a few words of parting from